Hey, everybody. Welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild. I am Debbie G, and it is our wonderful Spark the G Vibe Sunday. And this Sunday, we have the most spectacular guest. You've seen him before, and he's here again. His name is Steven Sadleir. I'm going to bring him right on up. Without further ado, we're going to run through this because I want to jump right in as quick as possible. Steven, how are you doing tonight?
Blissful.
Blissful. That's a good way to feel. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
I want to bring everyone into a pool of love.
And tonight's topic is what is self-realization? And and I think a lot of people probably wonder, what is this whole self-realization, self-awareness, waking up? What are you talking about? This sounds kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many questions. And so I'm going to ask for anybody who does have any questions to please let them rip. And I'm going to hand it right on over to Sai. And Sai can tell you why I'm not calling him Steven and why I'm calling him Sai, as well as let's just jump into it. And I'm gonna put the you'll see. There we go.
Well, hello. Yes, hello, hello. So Debbie's asked or suggested we have a discussion about what self-realization is and self-awareness is. And it's a perfect question for everybody in our society right now because there is an awakening occurring within society. And it's occurring at different levels. So when you approach self-realization, I think you could start on a very basic level that we all want to learn and grow and evolve. We want to realize our full potential. We want to realize ourself. We want to self-realize. So at the top of what the psychologist Maslow would suggest that there's this hierarchy of needs in life, starting with our basic security needs, survival needs, and we move up through self-esteem, try and get kind of a sense of who we are. And at the very top is he called self-actualization, where we really begin to look at who we are and why we were born. And when you begin to look at yourself, you can look at yourself in terms of your life experience at one level. But as you go deeper into it, you begin to realize that you're fundamentally more than just your mind and your body. There's something like deep that is calling each of us. There's something within calling every human being. And if you're listening to me or listening to Debbie, it's probably because you're one of us. You're one of the millions of people that are awakening right now. And so where we're at is everybody knows that the answers lie within themselves, right? They know that happiness and peace lie within, but they don't always know how to get to that place all the time anyway, or they want to develop it more. And so what we kind of do at Self-Awareness Institute is provide tools and training. And that's tools and training that I learned from studying with the world's greatest masters. I had written a book. I should give some background. I first of all, I got an inspiration when I was 16 to climb to the top of a mountain, and God spoke to me, and I was given a kind of like a charter. It wasn't like a sound in the clouds reverberating. It was more like a profound insight where I was going to look at every religious path and spiritual teaching in the world and write a book about it. And I just started that day. I was 16 years old.
16.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and for 20 years of my life, almost most evenings and weekends. Now I did go to college and study economics and managed to get a date in once in a while, but my life was, and I was really into yoga and meditation. What happened in my quest, I started out, my closest association with God was through the Bible and Jesus. My grandmother was a Baptist, daughter of a minister, and so she kind of introduced me to God. I just fell in love with God through her. I didn't always understand what the Bible and all that meant. But as we went to different churches, it kind of sparked my thinking
Hmm.
about, well, who is God? And, I kind of came into this world with an awareness of God that I didn't realize till later other people don't have. But right now, what's exciting is with all the stuff that's going on, in particular, people really are beginning to wake up. And a lot of stuff that used to seem kind of woo-woo is now starting to make sense. We can see a science to consciousness, like we've been talking about. So if we come back to self-realization, we can say, well, there's actually dendritic branching. There's a physical material development in the physiology of the body, and a greater use of the neural networks in a very scientific sense. There are fields of awareness. You can learn to attune to different fields of awareness, but that's still a new thing. See, that's what I like about it, though. It's leading edge. You know, we are Self-Awareness Institute. We're taking people out of the time-space continuum. People are going into altered states of consciousness on will. You know, they're not just going into a trance. It's not a drug thing. They're learning how to control their brainwave frequencies. They're learning how. So you can take self-realization to another level. There's kind of your basic self-improvement, get to know yourself. And then there's another level where you really get the science of it. And then there's yet another level where you get mastery of it. And that's what got exciting, where I'm excited, Debbie, because you and I have been talking about this accelerated program I developed, and we did for like 30 years, the self-realization course.
Yeah.
And it was the most exciting thing I ever did. And I saw thousands of people over decades, like enlightened before my eyes. And that we stopped doing it because of all these programs. I had the movie, it came out, and then the new network, and we were streaming, and I was traveling a lot. And so I was thinking, well, God, I really want to go back and do that. And you're like the lady that knows how to do this streaming video now, and are helping. So I'm really excited about working with you on doing a live streamed, for the very first time, a live streamed self-realization course.
It's nuts. I cannot wait. So for everybody that is watching right now, put your email address into the chat if you want to get information on this. So what I'm hearing you say is that self-awareness, self-realization is a process of brain entrainment.
Well, in the beginning.
In the beginning, okay.
Again, there's different, what we're looking at really is different facets. So at a mental level, from one perspective, you could say that. At another level, it might be perceived at a more on an emotional level, like a profound love, or you've heard people have had these spontaneous Kundalini awakenings.
Mm-hmm.
But I was trained with the masters, such as Vettatri Maharishi. We founded the Self-Awareness Institute together back in 1985. And he was, in my opinion, the world's greatest master and scientist on the subject of the unified field, the universal field, the mind of God, as it were, what made the Big Bang boom. And I was his apprentice. So part of my job is to take what I learned from him, not just at an intellectual level, but through going to, actually, you were saying, using the word brain entrainment. But what's really interesting, once you learn to entrain the brain, you can actually transcend the brain and the mind. You can actually expand your awareness first outside your own mind and senses, which is pretty amazing in itself. But then you can learn to move beyond the time-space continuum itself, beyond physical form and matter. So beyond the Big Bang, you might say, like what was there before the Big Bang boomed? There's a latent potentiality. There's an inherent consciousness that underlies everything that exists, and then it's maintaining it and guiding it while it appears to be in whatever form it is existing. And what's interesting to note about that, all existence is constantly changing. All light and sound and movement and thought, it's change. Everything is energy, and energy is always changing. And so says Albert Einstein with his E equals MC squared, right? So there's all this energy changing, but it's coming out of the changeless. There's something invisible that is allowing it to be expressed, and then it appears to go back into nothingness again. Everything's like coming and going. Every energy particle is kind of coming and going. Every atom is coming and going. Every cell in our body is coming and going. Bodies come and go. Planets come and go. Solar systems, galaxies, and universes come and go. But the inherent consciousness that underlies it all remains the same, unchanging. And so you've heard this before, Debbie, but one of my favorite analogies is to think of the individual person as like a cell in the mind of God, mm-hmm. in that it's the same consciousness within every cell, but there's different cells. So there's different parts of, there's us within a greater collective consciousness, a unity, the oneness. The oneness is the consciousness, the potentiality, which is God itself, expressing through the many and appearing in different time, space, in this continuum we call life. So
That is beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I just, sometimes I get these inspirations, I go off, and that's the beautiful part, because at this whole other level, self-realization is coming to a place of unsurmountable bliss and love and joy and rapture, and people don't know it exists. Now, I'm a man, I've been in love, I've had lovers and done tantra, I've had businesses and made and lost and made fortunes again and traveled the world. And when you think of the kind of things that are cool to do in your life, I've been fortunate to do a lot of cool things, TVs, but all that's like this.
It's all like that big. It's just that big.
And then there's this potentiality of love and peace and joy, which is the process of enlightenment. See, ignorance has no beginning, but it does have an end. And enlightenment has no end, but it has a beginning. So everybody that's already listening and even reflecting on what is enlightenment is actually enlightening. So it's kind of like preaching to the choir. You guys are all in the midst of your own enlightenment, aren't you? So what we want to do is say, well, what is that? Let's explore that. Let's see how we can tap into that, what I would think of as an inner light, and draw that light, draw that inner knowing, draw that inner peace and joy and love out through us so it can be expressed through what we think and say and do. And so that's why I kind of put it together in a course. So you get tools, and one thing layers on the next, and after 12 weeks, you develop a mastery over it, really, where if you just tried to do it on a weekend or over a few weeks, okay, you got a taste of it. But what if you really, we are also talking about Dr. David Hawkins and the fact that we can measure different calibrated levels of consciousness, different levels of joy, or different levels of anger or sadness and so forth too.
Right.
And so, well, part of what we do is learn, how do you move from one state to another? How do you move into higher states? And say you're already at a pretty higher or enlightened state, how do you keep moving to the next and the next? So even in India, when we were doing Enlightened Man, I'm gathering together some of the greatest gurus on earth. Sri Ravi Shankar was letting me use his ashram. I was there with Gurudev Sri Amaji, who brought yoga to America, trained Deepak. I was there with...
you mean Deepak Chopra, Deepak?
Deepak Chopra. He learned yoga with Amarit.
Okay.
He studied probably with many, he studies and knows a lot of teachers.
Oh, but anyway, so cool.
It goes back. He's a Shaktipat master. It goes back to the 60s, bringing yoga. At one time he had one of the bigger... But I'm bringing him up because we're all working together. It's like, because there is this giant enlightenment happening in the world right now. And everybody knows, like they know, like the answer's there, but they're not always necessarily in the fullness of their potential. There's a greater potential that has yet to be realized. And that can be kind of thought of in terms of calibrated levels of consciousness. Like, well, how do you get to the next level on a scale from 0 to 1,000, which is Hawkins' idea. And remember, it's just a model. And
so how do you?
Better than the other. It's just that we're all at different levels in our learning.
Is that, well, I mean, that is what it is, but how do you get to the next level?
Well, the main way is by knowing where you're at and being conscious of how conscious you are. So a big part of self-realization is learning how your own mind works. What are its proclivities, resistances, desires? Let's take a mental accounting and look at our brain and look at what it is and how it thinks, and look at how it was formed. Where do we get the imprints from our childhood or other life experiences that molded the perceptions and the patterns that are affecting the way we see the world and what we accept in our heart, or what our mind can open up to, what kind of fears might be keeping us from all the love and joy we could be feeling. And so my job as the teacher is to help. It's not to tell you what to do. It's to show you how to go in there. How do you go inside? How do you look within yourself? And there's tools. And remember, I was lucky in my writing of my book, Looking for God, which became a bestseller. I studied with dozens of the greatest masters on earth. So what I was really doing is gleaming from the Kriya bonds, gleaming from Shivananda and Iyengar and Bhajan, and just amazing gurus that would give me their nugget, and shamans and other teachers too, Christ teachings, all. So what I try and do is create an integrative process where a householder can just connect. There's no dogma to it.
Okay.
I don't have to be anything. There's no following. There's no thing. There's not like a belief. I'm a this now or a that now. It's a matter of you checking in with you. It's just you realizing yourself. Self-realization is you coming to the realization of the true nature of your being and what you'll realize. So now we started this conversation on kind of the basic level, kind of I want to realize my full potential. There's a material aspect and a life experience aspect to it. And then there's a deeper profundity to, like, why am I born and who is God? Like there's a deep calling we all have that's addressing us. How can I connect with my reason for being here on earth? And then there's God realization itself. It's realizing that we live in the age of enlightenment and that there is forthcoming a group of people that are already enlightening. They're already awakened. So in my vernacular, I would say there may be awakened beings, but they're not necessarily fully enlightened in the sense of a master. And even within masters, there's different levels. And that's why we can call them maybe calibrated levels. There's different levels to which you're maybe relating to your humanness, or the true nature of your being is more exalted, less encumbered by old mental programming. But we all got programming. I do too, by the way. So the idea is, in our life experience, every day provides a new opportunity for this light within us to be expressed to what we think and say and do. And in doing so, we evolve a greater capacity and begin operating in different calibrated level of consciousness. Matter of fact, you want to do an experiment? Want to do something like online live right now?
Of course I do. Before we do it,
I thought I'd ask you a question and let you talk for a second, so I don't dominate the whole.
No, I love this, but I want to say hi to everybody that's here right now because we have a really cool audience. Karen Palmer is here. She's the co-founder of Spirituality Gone Wild. She's my cross-pollinator partner in angelic work and everything else that we do. And Karen, if you want to pop on and towards the end, come on and meet Steven, let me know and I will send you a link. Actually. And John Deards, thank you. Look at where attention goes, energy flows.
Yeah, exactly.
Karen says,
oh my, self-realization is eternal freedom and absolute happiness. Cool. Thank you, Karen. I think I've seen you show. Yep, when you find love. Oh, how beautiful. Thank you for the contributions.
Thank you. Thank you. Cindy.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I love you guys. Thank you so much for participating tonight. Let me know if you've got any questions at all. And now Debbie's going to be a guinea pig. You all know I love that. Okay, go.
I want to share some energy with you. So one of the things I've been doing for years now, and most of my students have never met me in person. Many are on other continents, and even today we have live programs where we still connect online. But I want to ask you first, let me guide you in a little meditation. Everyone take a deep breath. Wherever you're sitting, just sit up straight for a minute. And as you breathe out, just imagine you're stepping into a hot bubbling jacuzzi. Just close your eyes. And if you don't mind, roll your eyes up and gaze at the point between your eyebrows. So most of you know what a third eye is, and this invokes a relaxation response. And we're just going to kind of plug into our own life force energy. So breathe in, close your eyes, roll your eyes up. And as you breathe out, just imagine you're soaking in the hot tub and let your shoulders drop. Let your neck relax, let your head roll back. Just gaze into your mind's eye and see if you can feel the subtle current or the subtle energy that's flowing in your body. Again, the breathing. And so the breathing helps, excuse me, helps relax you. So take a deep breath down into your belly. And as you fill up with air, realize that the air from the North Pole to the South has an electromagnetic field. And as you're breathing in, that That air is alive. It has an energy. It's literally electromagnetism. And you're now converting it into biomagnetism. So this biomagnetism is floating in your nervous system through all the nerves. It's flowing in the meridians where the chi is conducting. It's also flowing in electromagnetic fields around your body. So I just want to invite you to like check in with these different stratifications of energy that are emanating from your body. So we just become a little more familiar with our subtle body and how it works. Go ahead and breathe in, and let's just open our heart. If you don't mind, I'd like to say a little prayer. Lord, help me to be a pure vehicle for your love and light wisdom. And may you all be protected and guided by the divine in all your activities day and night. So now, as you're sitting there, just be aware of the energy in your body, the nervous system, in the meridians. You might think of an acupressure chart. Imagine like a spherical egg around your body, an electromagnetic field, a golden white light, like a big shiny aura. And then there's also a connection with the earth and its life force energy. In between the earth and the moon and the other planets and the sun and the galaxy, and throughout the entire universe to the ends of the Big Bang, there is a system of organizing intelligence, from the smallest energy particles to atoms to cells to bodies to planets to solar system, galaxies, and universes. There are systems within systems within systems, all interconnected. One consciousness operating through many different strata and many different parts, but all part of an interconnected wholeness of being. So just breathe in and take that in. And I want to invite you now to bring your hands up. And so first you check in with yourself. You don't need to go anywhere to feel energy. You've got it within you. And by gazing into your mind's eye, it helps you plug in. It's like an on switch. And now what I'm going to do is send you some energy. So this is spiritual energy, or Shaktipat, they call it in India. And so I put on my Indian garb for you today to play that role of the master, transmitting energy. So what my master did with me, who was in the line of the Siddha lineage, goes back before the flood, a yogi that knew how to transmit energy, trained me on how energy works and how to move to different gradients of energy, how to keep moving into higher and higher states until you move beyond all states. And so we can play with this energy or experiment with it. To me, it is playful because God is love, and this is all about opening the heart anyway, really. So as you bring your hands up, just make little circles and see if you can feel like a connection between us. If I can.
That's cool.
Got these gecko hands here. Go ahead and breathe in and imagine that. See if you can, and now go like this, and see if you can feel how there's an energy building between your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have some energy there, and so we just build up a little bit more, and now when we meditate, we're going to go even deeper. So this was just kind of like the before, and then we'll do the after. So bring your left hand down and take that right hand. Go ahead and just touch this third eye, because if I'm asking you to look there, not all of you are used to looking at this point. And remember, this is the relaxation response. There's a scientific reason for doing this. As you roll your eyes up, it's like you flick on the on switch, and you're just going to feel your brainwave frequencies drop from beta to alpha to theta to the delta brainwave very quickly. So the point of looking at this point is to go into a very deep state of meditation very quickly. So everyone close your eyes for a minute. Just take a deep breath and galvanize your focus at the point between the eyebrows. Affix your gaze one-pointedly, and hear the sound of my voice from this point between your eyebrows. And as you do so, you're going to feel an energy in your body. I just want to invite you to feel the energy in your body. Just note the state you're in. And so as I'm speaking to you now, I'm going to kind of start tuning up the amplitude or the energy. And if you want, you can bring your hands up again. It's
getting pretty blissful.
Are you getting blissful? Good.
Oh yeah. You guys, how are you feeling? Oh my God, this is crazy. Tell me after you were done. Okay, everybody.
Okay. So everyone just breathe in and see what you can, I shouldn't say see, but see what you can feel in your hands, like little tuning forks. Your fingers are beginning to vibrate, your hands, your palms. So the whole point of these exchanges is for us to get used to going into different states of consciousness. And there's an advantage there, and to learn how to go up and back down and how it all moves. I kind of give you a owner user manual for your soul and how spirit energy works. And this was given to me by such people as Lahiri, Chuni Lal Lahiri of the Kriya lineage in India, and Vitatri Maharishi, the Siddhas of Tamil Nadu line, and Babaji. I mean, you wouldn't believe, and I'll talk about that. So what I try and do for people is glean, what did we get from the greatest masters on earth, and how can that help you then to bring out the most within yourself, which is to really discover yourself. And when you start to as you start to discover yourself, as you've already probably started discovering, you also begin to discover what God is and what life is, and how all this love and joy just it flows out of you like a fountain. And I just wish it's so funny, because I wish I could go around and just kind of gently shake people and just say, don't you realize how much love and joy you could be experiencing right now? Because the kingdom of heaven is laid out before man, and they see it not. So those that have eyes, let them see. So I'm quoting from the Master, from the Gospel of Thomas, when he's explaining where heaven is. He says so clear. Jesus says to the apostles, he says, it's not going to come by waiting for it. He said, the kingdom of heaven isn't over here or over there. He says, it's spread out before you, but you see it not. So the metaphor is to open your third eye, to open your wisdom, to become aware that God's living presence is not only alive within you, it's the very thing animating your existence. Without it, you'd be dead. And what it is also, it's in you, it's in me, it's in everyone. So as you get dialed in on the essence of your being as this indwelling consciousness, expressing through the spirit, creating the form and life experience, you're also a part of every other form and experience. You're a part of that oneness of consciousness. And this is the age where people are starting to realize this. We've been very maybe insular, or our self-awareness has been very linear towards our sense of individual self, like our needs, our desires. And now what we're finding out, God, we have a much bigger purpose, and there's so much more. We have so much more love to allow into our life, and so much more grace, I guess I should say, than most people have never experienced, or maybe they've had it for fleeting moments, But you can live in a state of grace. You can live in a state of bliss simply by connecting with yourself. And that's what self-awareness is for me. It's really about I think for most people, when we work together, they just want the buzz. It's like, Steve, I don't know what you're talking about half the time. You and your energy particles and calibrated levels of consciousness. I just know when you start talking, I get stoned, and I like that. So really the course is really about coming to that childlike place of bliss that's our own spirit. It's blissful and sweet and playful, and we all need to bring this out from within ourselves.
I'm absolutely loving this. Thank you. Let's get some feedback here, because this is pretty cool.
Okay.
Hi, Patricia. Good evening. Good evening. So Deborah said her palms felt warm. Jean, thank you for being here, Jean. Great stuff. Thank you.
Hi.
Scott says tingling. This is fantastic. And Deborah again said, I feel a warm, pulsating, invisible ball.
Yeah, good.
I have an energy stick. You hear it? You ever seen one of these?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So I would need another person here for me to show you guys exactly what this energy stick. See, energy stick. One person holds it on one end, and the other, you need a finger to touch each end in order to light it up, right? So what happens is, if my son were to come here and touch this, nothing would happen, because there's no conductivity. So if we touch each other, or if our empty hands touch each other, it lights right up. And it shows the current that flows through the bodies.
Oh, I see.
Right.
It's a visual for getting that we're energy and we're sharing energy.
Exactly. And normally I have somebody here if I break that out so that they can see. But yeah, we are energy, and that is, yeah.
And we're conducting.
And
right.
We're conducting.
So that's what this is. It's really the science of the self, is how can I develop that sensory acuity? How can I develop more energy? How can I undo blocks due to there might be energetic blocks that need to be released? How can I condition my mind and body to conduct at a higher level of consciousness? So the training is very much like a toolkit. It's a very hands-on training. It's advanced. It's not if you're just kind of floating around checking things out. You've got to kind of be dedicated. But that's what's so exciting, because when you get a group of people that are all really dedicated, the synergy of the group kind of takes everybody. It helps us go to all of the next level. We ride that current of love together. It just moves us into an ever deeper state. These are really exciting, so I can't wait.
This is so much fun.
Yeah.
Are we having fun, you guys? Are we? I see Melissa over on another page right now on the watch party saying, "Beautiful, thank you," and this is just a blast.
Good. Want to do some more energy stuff?
Yeah, you guys want to do some more energy stuff? Let's do some more energy stuff. And so you'll see.
This is an advanced group, I take it, right? You guys have been around the block with this stuff. So let's see. I'm assuming most of you have, and if you're new to it, it's still fun to do. So come back to this idea. And again, just think of me as the orchestra conductor, and each of you are an instrument. Some of you are wind and some are string, but whatever you are, we're going to create these harmonies together is the idea. So I'm just conducting a certain current, and I just want to invite you to close your eyes for a minute and tune into the sensation in your hands. And then as you breathe in, imagine you're just drawing the energy in. And as you breathe out, just feel that your whole body's exuding in light. In other words, you can just tune into the electromagnetic field around your body, because this is kind of amping up the energy. If we exchange energy, it helps kind of develop it and it grow and move and start opening up in you is the idea. And then we want to start moving it up into ever higher levels. So now if you bring your hands out to the side, so maybe a large beach ball would be in front of you with each hand on each side of the beach ball. So maybe 2 feet apart. And now just start squeezing the beach ball. And you should be able to feel the energy from a greater width, we'll say, where before you could say, yeah, I think I feel a little tingling here, a little. Now you should be able to feel it more like out here. So the idea is, if you get in the training, if you get used to doing this again and again and again and again and again, you literally develop more of an electromagnetic or attractor field, as David liked to say. If you know about the law of attraction, if you have a greater magnetism, you can manifest more powerfully. You're operating with more health and you have more energy, but more importantly, you're connected with the divine. You're feeling more love and peace and joy, and you start getting guided to the people, places, and situations. It's all integrating more, I guess, if you're connected more. So the more connected you are, well, the more connected you are. So it's all that keep connecting and developing that connection. So I'm like the coach trying to help people get, I don't know, spiritually hunky.
We're gonna get you guys are gonna get spiritually hunky.
Well, you know what I mean. It's
I
like,
totally do.
how do we flow energy and awareness? That's all.
This is so rad. Hey, Deborah's got a question. She says,
Hi,
"Oh my
Deborah.
God, that's why we have pores in our skin." Well, actually, it's not a question, more of a statement. But why we have never thought about that? Why we have pores in our skin?
Pores
To suck in pores in our skin. Our skin are, there's interesting.
Well,
Like
Go
is that
ahead.
our open like receptors? It takes it in.
Yeah, and they're ducts that allow for moisture to come out and allow the cooling of the body and for air to come in and out. It also creates a habitat for different kinds of bacteria, but you guys probably don't want to hear all that.
Yeah, I really don't want to hear about the habitat of bacteria because that's just going to take me right out of my bliss.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't want to. I'm blissified. I've been scyified.
do
I,
you want me to do the eye thing? We didn't do the eye gaze yet.
oh yeah. Well, let's.
You're going to ask her a question first.
Well, I'm gonna recognize Katarina. Thank you for being here, Katarina. And I'm recognizing those that have shared. I love you guys. Jean, I just loving this. Look at this. Look at this. Dance of life, just beautiful. And Elaine, hi. Oh my God, Elaine Leonard. Hey girl, what's up? I haven't seen you like in a zillion years, man. Oh my God, I miss you. And Cindy pours. Okay, guys, who's ready for some eye gazing? So what you're going to do is I'm going to put the spotlight back on Steven Sai, and y'all are just going to listen to his instructions. This is some cool stuff. Ready for this? This is just, we're getting high with Sai.
Yeah, we're just, the eyes are the window to the soul, and I just want to open my heart to you, I guess. And to the degree that you're comfortable with it, I just want to be able to really look into you or connect with you in a deep and meaningful way. And that's the way of the spirit, I would say. I want my spirit to connect with you. So we can do that through the eye gazing. And in India, they call this diksha. Then close your eyes and just internalize and see if you can feel anything. Sometimes it helps bring up a little light, brings a tingling, a floating. You can start to open up. It's the way I look at it is I'm recognizing the light within you. In India, they say namaste. It is the light in me recognizes the light in you. It's almost like two neurons, dendritic branching. We're like connecting. I feel like you're all other parts of myself in a way. Same consciousness is in us all, or maybe we're each in a different finger on the hand of God. So as we close our eyes, we connect. What's beautiful about it is there's a spiritual connection. It's always nice to connect with people mentally and emotionally, and physically sometimes too, in one way or the other. But how special it is when you connect really spirit to spirit and soul to soul. So I just want you to breathe in and internalize and see if you can just observe the part of you, what you're feeling. So here's another exercise or game we can play. And that is to be aware of the energy, like what you're feeling or what state you're in. And then be aware of that part of you that is aware of what state you're in. And be aware of your awareness. Observe the feeling, and then observe the part of you observing the feeling. And then observe that you're observing the part of you observing. Observe the observer observing. So when we practice this exercise, if we go into these different introspective and self-reflective modalities, we can very quickly develop a sixth sense, and the higher mind functions, the part of us that's enlightening us. The instinct we have, the reason we're on this call together, is that all of us are being called to evolve ourselves to our greatest potential, right? And so everybody's having this awakening occurring. Everybody's having not only a greater, I would say, connections occurring within the brain, a sixth sense and intuition perhaps developing, this sense of needing or wanting to develop the self more, to enlighten itself. This is the instinct we all have. And so we've come here together to really kind of reinforce that, I think, more than anything else. So if you'd like, you can go ahead and open your eyes. I always like to end the meditation with a little blessing, bless your your children and your parents and your family and your friends. Know you're protected and guided by the divine in all your activities day and night, and may the whole world live in happiness and peace. So all the work is really about trying to bring peace into the collective consciousness of man, realizing there is this 100th monkey or a critical mass that is developing in the collective consciousness of man, and that even us talking about it like we are now is feeding that and help growing that evolution within the collective consciousness of man.
Wow. So
That was
that was seriously incredible. Yeah. Oh my God. So Francine says, love this. Raising consciousness. Thank you, Francine. Woo. And I feel calmness deep in my heart and soul, and a soul bond. A soul bond. What a beautiful thing, Deb. Soul bond.
soul bond. That's where it's at, man.
That's special. So you guys notice that I pinned, if you want any information about Sai's course, self-realization course, to put your email into the chat. Put your email into the chat and let's rock and roll. You tell them a little bit about what we're going, besides it's all about experience at this point, especially
Yeah,
with the pandemic. So one of the great things about doing these lives is you're able to experience this straight through the screen so that you know what you're going to be getting when you sign up for this course. I'm just like completely freaking excited. Can't comment yet. Wait, Cindy. Cindy's having a problem commenting. I'm sorry, honey. Message
enjoy the
message
bud.
me, Angel. Oh, look at Jean. Jean's woo. Rock on, Jean. First one on board. Look at that. I'm gonna have to like make a note of that. Jean was the first one. I
Yeah.
love that. Beautiful. So I'm going to just be quiet there for a second. Tell everybody what we're doing here. Tell them about this course.
Yeah,
Tell them
well,
what
you
you've
were my
been doing.
inspiration really to get back and do one live, particularly on a streaming format like this, which would make it a lot more interesting because I used to do it just through a teleconference.
Right.
For part of the class, you need to close your eyes, but it's much more interesting, I think, if you open your eyes, particularly now we can do the eye gazing, because really the first part of the course is a training in energy. So I speak through the class, and so there are lessons each week, and it's broadcast like this class. It runs for 12 weeks, and then you practice every day. But one element of it is classwork, learning principles, learning what I would call, or gaining what I would call the owner user manual for a human being. You know, how everything from how the chakras work to dendritic branching in the brain, how to shift mental programming. I mean, it was designed to be the most powerful class to awaken consciousness. The guy that came to me, did I ever tell you the story?
Yeah, no, I am just sitting here like having a fit right now. This sounds crazy awesome. No, please do. Tell me the story.
Well, I have been, of course, studying with gurus and teaching meditation my whole
Yeah.
life, but I also worked as an investment banker during the dot-com boom.
Mm-hmm.
And when it all came crashing down, I was all of a sudden sitting on, okay, what am I going to do now? You know.
Yeah.
So I said a prayer, and then I got a call, and a guy named Matt Ferry got on the call, and he says, I need a spiritual coach. And I'd never heard of such a thing. It seemed odd. But I said yes. I said, if I can help you, fine. And he wanted to pay me, and I
Mm-hmm.
needed some income. So I said yes. And I said, all of a sudden, I went from not knowing how I'd cover my expenses to having some support. And then he called me up the next day and says, I work better in a group. So I'm bringing 5 friends in. And then he said, oh, by the way, I want to do it over the phone. Because I was always used to doing things physically.
Mm-hmm.
I'd had conference calls, of course, by phone, but never tried to teach a course per se. And he said he wanted to do that because he was himself a coach, a very successful coach. So that's what really got the self-realization course going. And one of the things he was most interested in was David Hawkins wrote a book called Power versus Force.
Mm.
And he spoke about the different calibrated levels of consciousness and how you can calibrate, see what something or someone is at, and it'll help you learn maybe what's the best step to take at a certain level, as an example. Or if you're evolving your own consciousness, you would know, okay, if you're at one level, you would see things and learn things of one kind, and when you're at another level, you need something else. You tend to need something different as you evolve to a higher level of consciousness.
That is true. Is that you know what? I've noticed that's so true. And it's like there's no ceiling. You just and the teacher appears when the student's ready, because like you're appearing now and I'm just like, oh yeah, I just want to eat this up. I'm pretty excited about this. I don't know about you all, but I'm like super, super excited. Anyway,
But
keep going.
it too is the people we get. We get most of the people that take the course are teachers already of something. They're already, they've been around the block. They're not like needing to learn how to meditate. They
Right.
probably teach meditation or yoga or are a counselor or something, a channel, whatever it is. And so what we're really doing is learning, okay, how can I develop my skill and hone it to the highest levels? That's why I do these masterminds with people like Mark Victor Hansen and some of the leading CEOs of the world, some of the billionaires, to get a group of really powerful people together in a small group, especially if you're working energetically. So the self-realization course is focused specifically on the enlightenment of the consciousness, developing your, having the toolbox and the training to evolve your consciousness to as high a level as it can get, or that you're ready for during the span of time. And so we actually measured it for many years. We would have a, oh, I see the movie.
Yeah.
You're going to show the movie to everyone. Go ahead.
Oh no, you keep talking. I just wanted to cue it up. Keep going.
So this, and by the way, just a few years ago, I told you I was, my vision is to bring people together to this enlightenment movement. So the first place I went were to other enlightened masters, and most of them happened to be in India. So I went to visit with Sri Ravi Shankar and Sadhguru Joggi Vasudeva, my counterpart in India that is a Siddha Kundalini master, member of the Kriya lineage, and so forth, kind of like the top 10. And that summation became this movie, Enlightenment Now. So it's filmed all over India. So sometimes I'm being interviewed and asked a question, and I answer it, and then we kind of pop over to Ravi Shankar or to Sukha Bodhananda to give their explanation of the same question.
Right.
You don't just have to listen to me, or you don't just get my take on it. You get to hear other masters approach it.
And where you guys find this is right on YouTube, okay? So Enlightenment Now, Steven Sadleir, you'll find it in a second. But I want you to check this out really quick. Now, where's a good part for me to go to in this, would you say?
Well, what do you want to show them? You want to see in the beginning, I give a talk on the Ganges. How about in the middle?
Okay.
So go, trust it. So
I love the beginning, so I'm going to let the beginning play here really quickly.
You like the graphic?
I do. I like the beginning.
We thought it was cool. It was fun. This is the first movie I've ever produced. I've been in some other movies, but this.
You've been in some movies? Very cool.
Well, there's Three Magic Words and Spiritual Revolution. That was a few years ago now.
All right, we're here deep in the Himalayas, along the Ganges River, several miles deep, past Rishikesh, to begin a series of satsangs or talks on self-realization. Best place to start in a discussion of self-realization is simply by asking oneself, who am I? Most people go through their whole life not really knowing who they are, why they were born, what the purpose of their life is. So they may accumulate wealth, they may have many rich experiences with their work and family, but they never really end up knowing who they are or why they were born. They feel a sense of a lack of fulfillment and true happiness and peace. So the question I want to ask each of you is, how far from your house do you need to go to find your way home? You've never been anything other than that which you already are. Most of us look outside of ourselves to find the answers. But the answers lie within us. The source of happiness and peace lie within too. The source of life itself lies within us. A spark of divinity, our spirit and our soul lies within. So we begin our journey of self-realization by inquiring into the nature of the self, by looking within and saying, who am I and why was I born?
Wow. Who am I and why was I born? Super important questions, you guys. Beautiful audience. I hope you're soaking all this in right now. All right, Sai, where should I go now? Where should I go? Where's a good part to just give them a little teaser so they can go watch this?
You mean the movie in the middle? You watch some of the other gurus.
Okay.
Watch the interview with the gurus.
All right. Oh, wait. I think I found one. Oh, here?
That's fun. He's a beautiful man.
Is that the right person?
Sure. He's the world famous guru.
You cannot do it just by reading a book.
Got millions of followers all over.
It's better to have
an
instructor.
Very deep
in the first 2 to 3 days.
He went to see my guru.
Then it's do it.
And I did yoga tapas with. He'd go to see him.
From then to now, I see a sea of change. And I attribute this to the painstaking work of hundreds and thousands of yoga teachers and spiritual leaders and people like you who have really brought in, the spirituality to the mainstream and make it more acceptable. It is not something.
That was really sweet of him, huh?
Oh my God, I love that.
He's a really sweet man. He has all these followers, but he's really a very humble man. And he has a hospital that's for free, and he feeds people. And I've seen how he lives. I was staying in a hotel in downtown Bangalore. He goes, "What are you doing in a hotel?" He goes, "Why don't you stay with me?" I said, "Oh, we can't bring you. Plus, I got the film crew and everything." He's going, No. I've got all these condominiums, and they're empty right now. They're for guests. They're for people that come to visit. So please stay at the house." And he wanted to feed us. He treated us like royalty.
Oh, what a sweetheart.
Just love. The love is flowing. So
I want to meet him. I do.
Well, we're going to do a trip to India next year, right? So to get
That's right.
COVID craziness.
So who is this?
Well, this was my guru. The man with the green is Sri Shiva Bala Yogi Maharaj. He was very famous in India for sitting in meditation for 12 years in a row without 23 hours a day. He was just sitting. I did yoga tapas under him. So I was sitting 12 hours a day for weeks, and I moved up to 23 hours a day. And I did that for 40 days and nights under his direction. And I'm the first American or white man to have undergone that process of yoga tapas, it's called. So he was my instructor. And when he'd come to America to visit me, I would travel with him, and this man would come with him. So this guru's now left his body.
Okay.
But I wanted to talk to Jagadish because he's a teacher in his own right, or a master in his own right. And he studied with the same guru I did. So we're kind of talking about him in the movie, and also he's giving some wisdom of his own.
Okay, so let's give it a little bit of a play here, guys.
All people are doing the meditation regularly. Then not only the individual upliftment, meditation also helps the interpersonal relationship between people. Because I have my mind under my control, you have your mind under your control. So when we interact, when we deal with each other, it's a very dignified and decent dealing. We respect each other very much. We care for each other. Okay, so this comes from the meditation. So if everybody in a community is doing the meditation to control their minds, then the whole community would be peaceful. As more communities in a country become more and more peaceful, the whole country can be peaceful.
Mm.
And then the whole world can be peaceful.
Woo! Oh, looky! Oh my God! Aww.
My little buddy. Yeah. I've got a monkey up here too, comes up later on.
I've seen
I had a
that.
whole audience. We were filming up on the roof of this hotel in Rishikesh, and a whole family of monkeys, a whole troop just lined up on the wall, like my audience. Like I was giving a satsang on film, but I actually had a whole bunch of monkeys watching me.
Oh my God, I love it, because you are the 100th monkey.
I hope we together.
I do hope we together are the 100th monkey, because it's such an important story. And why don't you share with them what that means? I just posted, by the way, everybody, the YouTube link is in the chat now. Okay, the YouTube link is in the chat. All you have to do is copy it, and if it won't go directly there, if it won't take you directly there, let me see if it'll take you directly there. It will. So just click on that link, and voila, there you go. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the 100th
By the way,
monkey?
it got Best U.S. Documentary at the International Film Festival. It was shown in 5 cities around the world.
I
There were
bet.
50,000 entries for that accolade. So we were very happy. Our first movie got 3 different laurels. It was the feature film at the Rishikesh Film Festival, and I don't know, we got a laurel somewhere else. I forget.
Well, millions of people have seen it, so it's a spectacular documentary. I've watched it a few times now. I also premiered it on World Unity Week.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Yeah, I premiered it there too. So, I mean, you guys just go check that out, because it's seriously fantastic. It is also going to give you a more in-depth idea of studying with Sai. And again, if you're interested, whether you're watching on right now or you're watching on the replay, just put your email address into the chat if you want to work with Sai, because the self-awareness, self-realization course is getting ready to be released, and you can be the first to get your hands on it and work live with Sai, which is a pretty big deal, because a lot of people
coming up quick. That's just a few weeks away, huh?
Super quick. Yeah. I mean, just like around the corner, blink your eyes, and there it is, super quick. So, but just look for this coming week for a lot of Mr. Sai here showing up. And as always, when he comes on, he so willingly shares beautiful meditations, lovely healing experiences. And it's been a joy having everybody here tonight and embracing all of this. Jean, you're 58. I love that. I'm 52. So look at here. Eternal gratitude. And what a beautiful experience. Thank you.
Well, we can do it again anytime.
Okay, guys. So watch for it coming, because this week we're going to have a busy week with Sai, because I'm so excited about this course. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, wait till you're in it, because you're buzzing. The energy just gets you buzzing. Some of you that have been listening and watching, observe how you feel over the next hour or two, because you might get a sensation like you're high, like you've been getting stoned, like bong hits on God. All of a sudden there's this, why am I feeling so good? Because this energy starts to open up the more you connect. So keep connecting, and I'll see you. That's
beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you, Deb. Oh, look at this. I've enjoyed this. I've been through profound spiritual experiences and deep dives many years ago, and trained in reconnective healing.
Very good. Good.
Well, that's what he was saying. Just because a lot of people that watch Spirituality Gone Wild are already working in the field of healing or coaching or something like that, just like myself. And this is the next level. So, I mean, I'm just like, I'm so stoked. I know, right? Right, Gene? I mean, seriously, buzzing is an understatement. Woo!
Called. You see, you've been called. So if you're buzzing, it means, your spirit's lighting up. So, hey, I look forward to sharing with you more. That's all I can say.
All right, guys. Peace out. And make sure you check all week long. We've got stuff happening every day at 9 to 6 for sure with Love Coach Academy. So until further notice, which will be probably later on tonight when I go and create another live broadcast, I'll catch you all later.